Welcome to Therapy Unlocked, where we discuss all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. I'm Emily Huffman, and I'm here with Katrina.
Hello, Katrina Mondragon, licensed professional counselor. All right, so like I said, I am a professional, but not your professional, so nothing we're going to talk about today should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.
Education, amusement, and because I would like to be famous. So please like, subscribe, follow, engage, hate on us, join the conversation, find us on YouTube, find us on Instagram, find us anywhere where you listen to podcasts, because I love a creeper and I love a hater and I love a lover. So if you like the podcast, if you dislike the podcast, I'd like to hear from you.
And so other people who have like anxiety about like perfect baby shower. I think that was an example you had mentioned.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe anxiety about having an absolute perfect baby shower and then putting off planning that baby shower to the point that it's like the absolute last minute that you can invite people or they're not going to come. Sometimes.
Let's suppose, hold on, let me just pause. Let's suppose, sure, we'll use baby shower. Baby shower works. Let's suppose a person, we won't say that person has pink hair. We won't say that person has pink hair. Let's suppose a person is planning it, I don't know, baby shower. And they put off planning of said baby shower until like, I don't know, 11 o'clock the day before. And then they purchase all of the things for the baby shower and they put it all together and they work until like 6 a.m. until the day before the event. And they set it all up and they sleep for like 20 minutes or so before the pregnant lady wakes up on the day of their baby shower. And then they wake up and enjoy their day, right? And they make sure everything is perfect for the baby shower. They have done a fantastic job and the pregnant lady enjoys their baby shower very much. But the perfectionist had so much anxiety and they ended up working very hard and they had a lot of anxiety, but they made sure that it was absolutely perfect. But they procrastinated until the last minute and they got it all done, but they got it all done at the last minute because of all of their anxiety. So their perfectionism and their anxiety over making sure that it was a perfect event made sure that they procrastinated until the last minute. I feel like that, it was the anxiety and the procrastination that made sure those things.
You bring up a good point about anxiety, is that it's not always what some people perceive to be as bad. With actually the right amount of anxiety and focus can really help you produce.
Right. It is a motivator, especially for people with ADHD. It's a huge motivator. Fact.
Yes.
That's a pillar, and we'll talk about that some other time. That said, I do think that moves on really nicely, though, to how the fear of failure can lead to procrastination. It can also be a motivator for people who are procrastinating to finally get what they need done. But the fear of failure can lead to procrastination.
I would say yes, and fear of success. Fear of failure and success can lead to procrastination. I'll give the example of myself. I had the idea to start this podcast in 2016. It didn't start until 2021. So there was about 5 years where I procrastinated. I put it off because I didn't want to be on the public sphere. I didn't want to be in the arena yet. It didn't have to be perfect.
Listeners, there's amazing material out there that Kat put out for a really long time, but she did not market herself. There's great material out there. If you are learning, if you are an LPC candidate, if you are somebody who is just interested in learning about the brain, about anything, please check out her previous content. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Right? It was just me and I picked up the microphone. The way that I got over that procrastination was by going live on a particular social media app every single day for 2 months straight. I have a distinct memory in 2021. For 2 months straight, I forced myself to face the anxiety that I was having of broadcasting. And in doing so, I still had the butterflies in my stomach when I would do it. But what would happen was it would reverse from anxiety to excitement. And the only difference between anxiety and excitement is our interpretation of those physiological sensations that are happening. I don't know if you know that.
I love that. The only difference between anxiety and excitement is our interpretation of the physiological sensation. That's
That's really
fantastic.
frustrating, actually,
It's frustrating.
to
Does
me.
that,
Like,
yeah? Why?
yeah, because anxiety is thought of as this, like, oh, get rid of, I don't like it, I don't want it kind of thing. And excitement is thought of as like this, give me more, let me go have fun kind of thing. So to say that physiologically I am feeling the same thing, fuck.
Yeah. That makes sense because I have always gotten the hiccups, whether I am excited or scared. And it's frustrated me forever because I hate having the hiccups. And I would get the hiccups whether I was in line to go on a roller coaster or whether someone was yelling at me. And both times it's very inconvenient to have the hiccups because you want to go on the roller coaster and you're excited and you're ready to go, or someone is yelling at you and you would like to yell back at them, or possibly just make an argument as to why they shouldn't be yelling at you. So I completely understand what you mean. And that is very frustrating. And also, why do we do that? Why do we get the hiccups in that circumstance? I need to look that up. Possibly it could be on one of your old podcasts because you got into some obscure stuff. I'm just saying. Uh, I had another question, and it also could have been on one of your old podcasts. I'm not going to lie, but can procrastination be a trauma response?
Absolutely. But, and this is what you might not like, it's not recommended to engage in because it could make it worse.
Mm.
The avoidance of certain things when it comes to trauma, avoidance is one of the big things. They say, like, the trifecta for
Mm.
PTSD is like the avoidance, the hypervigilance, and the nightmares. Not necessarily those three, but those are pretty common responses that people report. Also, re-experiencing of some kind is a big one. But the procrastination being a trauma response, avoidance of whatever that person, place, or thing that you're putting off, avoiding it's just going to increase that emotional distress and therefore make that thing worse to do later and harder to do
Mm.
later.
No, that makes sense. That's so difficult. What are practical strategies to break the cycle?
Well, I like to use the example of the grocery store, especially with
Mm.
COVID, because COVID was an extremely traumatic time for a lot of people. And one of the conveniences
Absolutely.
of COVID that came about was not going to the grocery store. So,
I
not
still
going to the
really
grocery
haven't
store.
returned. Yeah.
So people got used to DoorDash, people got used to Instacart, people got used to Grubhub and all those other apps. Even
Yeah.
Walmart, I believe, will deliver, or curbside.
Oh,
I'm not.
yeah. I've been putting Walmart's kids through college.
Point is that that convenience has led to some people may use it as a way to avoid going to the grocery store. And part of going to the grocery store is interacting with other human beings. When you go to the grocery
Mm.
store, you have to find a parking spot. When you find that parking spot, you've had an interaction with the other cars. And then you have to find a cart. Maybe you have an interaction while you're finding the cart, maybe you don't. Then you have to navigate through the store where there's tons of other humans, where you might see somebody looking at you and you might fear their judgment of you, but they might not be thinking about you at all. They might be looking at the sign behind you, totally past you, not thinking about you at all. But all of those things, those anxieties might come up if you actually go to the grocery store, and it's actually recommended to go and feel the feelings, feel the bodily sensations that are happening and endure that temporary discomfort. Then don't die. That's a big part of it. Don't die. Do it again and again and again without dying. And then your body learns, oh, okay, I'm okay.
Mhm. I think it's very important in all that you do to not die. That's official, that's official advice from Therapy Unlocked. Don't die. Don't die. If you take anything we say seriously, please don't die. Um, I was gonna ask for small actionable steps to start overcoming procrastination, but go to the grocery store is a good one. I think maybe another good one is just self-awareness. It's really hard to I think my least favorite advice that I ever received from anyone when I said, "How do I stop procrastinating?" was make a list. I hate that. Make a list. I've made so many lists.
What
That's
about write
not,
it down? It doesn't have to be a list.
see, I love that advice. That's my favorite advice. And that's why I said self awareness, because this is what my clinician at the time told me. What if you made a list after you did it? What if you made a list of everything you did instead? What if you
To feel
sat
that sense of
down?
accomplishment.
Yeah. What if you sat down when you were done and you made a list of everything you did? And then you got to feel self aware of what you did instead. And then you got addicted to success. And then you got addicted to making a longer list. And then you got addicted to making a list that was even longer than that. And then at the end of the day, you felt like you were writing books. That would be a really good feeling. You wouldn't feel like you were procrastinating. You would feel like you were accomplishing.
I just
That's a
get a
different
post-it
feeling.
note and like stick it somewhere. I'll remember to look at it if it's on the door, if it's on the computer, if it's on my cup. I'll find it if it's on my cup. Just write it down. Doesn't have to be a list.
I love that. I love hiding little action items for myself around the house, honestly, because I have kids and my kids, they come with debris. They come home from school with like debris that I have to do things with. They have QR codes for yearbooks and reading lists and things along those lines. So, just by nature of my personality and organized chaos, like we said earlier, I just kind of scatter those about. And then as I'm going through my day later, I find things I have to do. So I'm making dinner and also ordering the yearbooks and doing the enrollment and all of those other things. It's a great system that isn't overwhelming at all. But it helps with the procrastination, but it also helps with that list I was talking about of all the things that I've gotten done. That it really helps with my self awareness. My last question, and really relevant to our title of Therapy Unlocked, is how can therapy help someone who feels stuck in a cycle of procrastination and avoidance?
Okay, because I think therapy can help you realize this. I was kind of looking something up that I wanted to share, and I think it kind of answers this question. Perfectionism is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that fuels this primary thought. If I look perfect, live perfect, work perfectly, and do everything perfectly, I can avoid and minimize the painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. That's a quote from Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart. She does a little bit on perfectionism where she says that where perfectionism exists, shame is always lurking. And so that might be too much for right now, but just a little bit about her book is that she goes through 82 different emotions and she really takes it into places where we go when, rather than like alphabetical order of like what you might be feeling. She takes it places you go when. And so the perfectionism is in there. And that is one that a lot of people might resonate with. I highly recommend anything by Brene Brown. No affiliation at all. She's just awesome.
No. But as always, we will link that below. And do you have a book for us today? Can we do the page thing?
Oh, yeah. The Obstacle
Awesome.
is the Way by Ryan Holiday. He's a modern day Stoic philosopher. And if you have a page number, this goes to like 200-ish pages. I'll take off my
Okay, cool.
bookmark. Any
So
page
we
you
will be
like.
linking this one below as well. And I want to do page 32.
32. Okay. I opened it to 13, flipping ahead to 36 and back to 31. 32 is practice objectivity. This is the very beginning of the chapter, and it says, don't let the force of an impression when it first hit you knock you off your feet. Just say to it, hold on a moment. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test. And that's a quote from Epictetus, and he gets those quotes at the beginning of the chapter, and then he goes into his interpretation with the rest of the book. So he actually talks about the phrase, this happened and it is bad, is actually two impressions. And he talks about it in depth.
I like it. All right. Well, I look forward to reading that more. And yeah, we'll link that below. Thank you guys for joining us today on Therapy Unlocked, where we unlock the mind one conversation at a time. Have a great day.